Welcome to Sneakers and Strategies, the podcast where high-level marketing throws on a fresh pair of kicks and hits the streets. Host Nick Kastner will help you find practical, actionable marketing insights that move with you. In Season 3, Nick's switching gears and going all in on Agile marketing. If you're still clinging to rigid plans and red tape, this season's your wake-up call. It's time to move fast, break patterns, and actually get done.
All right, welcome back to Sneakers and Strategies, the podcast that takes big marketing ideas, puts some sneakers on them, and makes them move. I'm your host, Nick Kastner, and today we're going to talk about something that every marketer feels, but few of us talk about honestly, and that's pace. Great marketing doesn't come from burnout. It comes from rhythm, and agile marketing at its core is actually built on rhythm. It's fast enough to stay relevant, but steady enough to stay sane. Today's principle is simple. Long-term marketing success benefits from operating at a sustainable pace. Now, that might sound soft compared to some of the other principles we've talked about, things like trusting your staff or embracing change or, the speed of agile, but this is actually what keeps your team from flaming out before the finish line. We talk about speed and agile. Sometimes it's speed to market, but it's because we've paced ourselves to get there. So we're going to dig into what sustainable pace really means and how to find it and why this go, go, go culture so many brands fall into is killing their creativity and their results. So if we're honest with ourselves, most marketing teams live in a constant state of sprint. There's a launch, and then there's another launch, and then there's a deadline, and then there's another deadline, and the next campaign's due before the last one's even finished. We call it hustle culture. We're all about the hustle. We glamorize it. They glamorize it in movies. We brag about late nights, caffeine, and crushing it. I was even in an agency where we glamorized it or glorified it. But here's the hard truth about it all. No one actually does their best work when they're constantly running on fumes. Burnout doesn't just kill morale, it kills strategy and it kills creativity. It kills the very thinking that makes marketing valuable. Agile is actually built to flip that on its head. It's not about slowing down, but it's about building a pace that's sustainable. Because when your team burns out, it does damage to everything and your brand stalls out. A sustainable pace isn't being lazy, it's being smart. And it's about working with intention, not panic. Sprints that lead to recovery, not collapse. So if you think about it like running, a good friend of mine who I know listens to this podcast is a marathon runner. And if you can easily sprint 100 meters flat out, like just as fast as you can go. But if you're running a marathon, you better find your pace or you'll never make it to the end. And marketing is really a marathon. So why talk about pace and agile? Why is this part of agile thinking? Well, agile marketing was actually born out of some work in software development. And in that world, sustainable pace was a rule. Teams that overworked, burn out, they made mistakes, they create terrible products, they never see the finish line. I mean, you've all used apps or software that never got updated again because they failed. The best teams actually learn to balance intensity with consistency. Marketing is the exact same way. If your team is always on the run, you have no time to test, learn, adapt, make changes, which means you're just pretending to be agile. You're not actually agile. You're not living it. Because agile isn't supposed to be chaos. It's actually very controlled and very project management driven. The goal isn't to move the fastest. It's actually to move the longest and deliver real value over time. It's steady. It's a rhythm of planning, execution, review, iteration. Like this idea of we plan, we execute, we look at it, we do it again. That's how we drive long-term success, not by creating these very rapid fire campaigns and praying that they work. It is structured. So how do you know if your team's actually lost its rhythm or struggling with burnout? Well, there's some red flags. And with each of these, I would say you need to take note of yourself too, right? It's not just your marketing team. Maybe you're burning them out and you're burning out at the same time. And the number one red flag is everything's urgent. Everything is on fire. We actually said at Forum that we didn't want to say fire anymore. We have no more fires. Fires do not exist. Because if every project is labeled as soon as possible, then nothing is. It's like the old saying that if everything's important, nothing's important. Constant urgency is a symptom of chaos, not efficiency. If everything is always as soon as possible, that is not efficient. You are creating chaos and you are not working in an agile environment, nor do you plan to. Okay? That is not a good thing. So if everything's urgent, red flag, you're doing it wrong. Second, creative quality is dipping. Campaigns feel rushed, unoriginal, inconsistent. You're desperate to use AI, like ChatGPT, to write content for you, to create things for you. Because that you normally would create because you just don't have time anymore. Your team is too stretched thin. Here's the thing. There's a place for artificial intelligence to help us. It's a very powerful tool and can do a lot for us. But real creativity really just needs space to breathe. One of the things that I've learned working here at Forum is that clients would call and say, hey, I need this really fast. I need this design really fast. Remember the red flag? I need a brochure, or I need something designed, or I need something posted to social right now. Sometimes those things are real and they need to happen. Other times they don't. And if I am pushing my creative team every time to do everything as fast as possible, they're not going to do their best work. And we don't want that. We want our creative quality to be the best of the best. And if we are just slamming on the gas every time we ask creative to do something, that is not sustainable. Again, red flag. Okay, number 3, you're skipping retrospectives. And so in retrospectives is more like it's an opportunity for you to review the project and see how it went. We do those at Forum. We call them something else, but we do those. And the thing is, agile teams and marketing teams need time to reflect after every campaign or after each sprint. If you're too busy to take the time to stop and see what worked and what didn't, you're just spinning your wheels faster. You're not agile. You have to stop. And usually it's not a long time. You're not asking to stop for 3 weeks, but you do need to take time and look at what happened and see if it worked. Number 4, your team's mood is shifting. You're seeing that they're exhausted, they're frustrated, you're starting to see high turnover, people leaving more frequently. That's not a personality issue, that's a pace issue. You're working people to death. And then the last one is you're reactive and not proactive. When you're always reacting, you've lost control of your calendar and your strategy. And if those things sound familiar, your pace isn't sustainable. You're burning people out. Okay, so how do you fix that? Because once you're in that rhythm, it's hard to get out. So how do you build a sustainable pace without losing what you believe your edge is? Okay, 5 ideas here. So number 1, plan for breathing room. Agile is not meant to be chaos. It's meant to be controlled adaptability. Like, we should be able to move, but do so carefully. So you have to build in buffer time into your cycles. Every sprint should include moments to rest, review, and reset. You have to take the time to do the retrospective. You have to take the time to review. You have to take the time to see what you should do next. Number 2, prioritize ruthlessly. We have some people on staff at Forum that are so good at this. Not everything needs to happen right now. Ask yourself, what delivers the most customer value this week? Then do that. And then you cut out all the rest. You really are focused on value. Remember, marketing in and of itself is about creating value. It creates value for customers. It creates value for your partners, and it creates value for you and financial benefit. So there are 3 things that really you should focus on creating value. And so that's what you should be doing. Don't do the stuff that doesn't create value. So prioritize. 3, protect your energy. Meetings don't produce creativity. Thinking time does. Give your team space to think without constant interruption. One thing I've learned about me, so I'm in charge of brand and digital strategy at Forum, and I have an awesome opportunity to work with clients to help them build a brand, to help tell their story in a way that no one else could. And it is an absolute blessing to get to work on those projects because I know how important they are for the organizations we do them for. But I also know that if my schedule is packed so tight that I have no time to think, I can't do that job. And so I have to tell the team, hey, I'm going to work from home today. And frankly, there may be times where I'm literally just staring at the wall. And a lot of it is just I need time to process because we do a ton of research with a lot of these clients when we do these brand activities. And I can't do my job if I don't have time to allow my mind to slow down to do it to the best of my ability. And so the way that we win for clients is, when it comes to brand development, is we have to have time to think. And that's true for your team too. Sometimes they just need a minute to think. Constant interruptions, constant Slack notifications, constant emails, constant phone calls, all those things that lead to burnout. Number 4, celebrate done, not busy. We don't celebrate busy. Busy is not a good thing. We want to reward completion and impact, not how many hours you logged. You get what you celebrate. And so, given I work for an agency, and if you work for a law firm or an accounting firm or any of those types of organizations, or you're any sort of service business, you charge based on time. And so, logging hours is a requirement for those types of organizations, okay? That's just part of life. But the reason we log that is because we want to know how long it takes to get to completion. We don't want to log the time that for jobs that never got finished. If we're going to log time, it's because we're heading toward an end goal. We reward completion. 5, normalize rest. If your team feels guilty for taking breaks, you've got a culture problem. Rest is not a reward. It's part of the process. You have to allow them room to breathe. Again, you can't just cook people. That's not how you're going to get to where you need to go. So let's talk about this from the agency side for a second, because sustainable pace applies to partnerships too. So if you're a client who's constantly sending urgent requests or changing direction mid-project, you are wrecking your agency's algorithm, their algorithm. Like, that is not how they are built to operate. Agile relationships rely on trust, communication, pacing. They have a structure in the way they do things. And you need to give your partners enough predictability to deliver quality. And on the other side, if you're an agency, don't let every client set your tempo. Protect your team's bandwidth. You can't do great work for clients if you're dying inside from the stress of a single client. The best agencies and the best clients understand the value of being consistent and doing thoughtful and careful work. That doesn't mean slow. I'm not saying slow. It means that you're operating at a strategic speed. So, quick example. I had the honor of seeing a coworker I had not seen in a long time this week. And she and I worked for an agency where everything was on fire. Like, clients had fast turnarounds. If the client wanted a fast turnaround, leadership would give it to them. We would pull all-nighters. We even worked 48 or 72 hours straight to pull off projects to meet deadlines. It was a whatever it takes and no matter the sacrifice sort of attitude. And sometimes it was just for like a SEO audit. It was nuts. At Forum, we don't do that. And in 2024, I had a project that was heading that direction. They would amp up the pressure. Myself and some of our teammates pulled some all-nighters. And actually, I have a photo on my phone of a coworker who was traveling internationally for vacation, working on his laptop in the airport while on vacation, trying to meet a deadline. That's not sustainable nor healthy, and we know that. And thankfully, it's why I love our company so much. We don't take projects like that. And that one just kind of slipped through the cracks. That's not how we work. Because you really want to work at a sustainable pace because it motivates people. It empowers them. It protects your culture. And if you're a client or you're on the client side, don't burn your agency at the stake just to meet a deadline. You really need to protect that relationship just as much as they want you to win. Because they do. They're fighting for you. That's why you hired them. So whether it's internal or external, culture, building trust, those things are the superpower that you can create in those partnerships. And to do that, part of that is sustainable pace. So if you're a marketing leader and you're listening to this, here's your challenge. Don't confuse urgency with importance. They're two different things. Your team takes their cues from you. If you're panicked, they're going to be panicked. If you move with calm, they'll follow that rhythm. You're not just setting the marketing strategy, you're setting the heartbeat and the culture. And so here's a secret. The best leaders know when to say no. They protect their team's energy like it's the most valuable asset they have because it is. And a burned out team can't innovate, but a balanced team, and that's work-life balance, that's balanced internally, can conquer anything. So let's bring it home. Agile marketing isn't about moving fast, it's about moving well. Long-term marketing success depends on pace, the kind that allows your team to stay creative, adaptive, and alive. The best marketing isn't born from pure chaos, it's actually built from a cadence. So if you're sprinting nonstop, you need to breathe. Not to slow down forever, but to find your rhythm. Because when you find it, you stop burning out and you start breaking through. All right, so that's a wrap for today's episode. Remember, the goal isn't to be the fastest team in the room. It's to be the one that's still standing when everyone else has crashed. Sustainable pace isn't weakness, it's wisdom. So next week, we'll talk about we'll talk about the last principle, which is agile marketing isn't enough. Excellence in marketing requires continuous attention to marketing fundamentals as well. We have to pay attention. It's back to the basics. But until then, keep your sneakers laced and your pace steady.